Good morning, it's September 23rd, and this is To My Liberal Friends. You know, free speech has suddenly become the hot topic that liberals and Democrats want to talk about. And this has been prompted by CBS canceling the Steve Colbert show at the end of this coming April. This brought out Colbert supporters, most of whom probably never watched the show if you believe the ratings, who said it was a violation of free speech to cancel his show. They ignored that the show was not profitable. They had a staff of over 200 people to produce a 90-minute show and was losing the network millions of dollars. I have to suppose if these protesters were in business, which looking at them I highly doubt they are, they would keep an employee on even if it was costing them large sums of money. The next outrage was when Jimmy Kimmel made a false statement about the alleged shooter in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Like so many in the media, he jumped the gun without getting the facts and announced the shooter was a MAGA supporter. The evidence later showed that he was more of a left-wing lunatic than anything else. He even etched messages on the bullets, calling Kirk a fascist. Those comments prompted ABC to suspend the show. They were forced to do so when a large number of affiliates refused to show Kimmel. After a week of back and forth, ABC decided to reinstate Kimmel effective tonight. Sinclair, one of the owners of 38 ABC affiliates, will not show the Kimmel show. It'll be interesting to see what Nexstar does, the other owner of affiliates that pulled the Kimmel show. And this puts a damper on the ratings for the show, and that means lower ad revenue, and that's what gets the attention of the ABC network leadership. In the aftermath of the ABC decision, Democratic leaders have taken to the airways to denounce the decision to take Kimmel off the air, even though it was obvious he was spreading disinformation to fit his own political narrative. The same leaders and pundits who have for years fought the censorship in the name of combating disinformation are now making the very arguments they ridiculed just months ago. Democrats were writing letters to internet carriers suggesting that Fox News, the most popular cable news network, should be taken off the air in the name of combating disinformation. That was when the Democrats controlled the White House and were targeting conservatives. Suddenly now, disinformation is no longer a valid reason to censor, and the alleged government corporate alliances are a menace to free speech. I think you all remember the pressure the Biden administration was putting on social media outlets to censor any comments or information about COVID that was contrary to the administration's position. Any criticism of Dr. Anthony Fauci was to be eliminated. The far-left motivations of the alleged assassin, Tyler Robinson, were already well known. His family confirmed that he'd been radicalized with leftist ideology and cited pro-transgender views. This was not even a joke. It was just a false factual claim made by Kimmel on national television, and it came at a time where others were spreading this lie. Despite all the stories to the contrary, many repeated the false claim. For example, Harvard law professor Lawrence Tribe, a noted liberal, posted that, quote, Kirk's apparent assassin seems to have been ultra-MAGA, exploiting the GOP MAGA attempt to pin the blame on this tragedy on liberals, end quote. And remember, previously Tribe had claimed that the October 23rd massacre of Israelis by Hamas was a wag the dog operation to distract from corruption allegations against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. He actually said the Israelis did this themselves. This information took hold on the internet and the social media. One poll showed that a plurality of Americans think Robinson was a conservative. Curiously, some of these politicians and pundits are claiming that yet again, democracy will die if Kimmel's not allowed to get back on the air and say whatever he wants to say, even if it is disinformation. There are reports that Kimmel was refusing to apologize and plans to double down on the attacks on conservatives in his next show. We'll see what happens tonight. Senator Elizabeth Warren ran on a pledge to impose new criminal and civil penalties on anyone spreading disinformation. However, now censorship is intolerable. Warren told CNN, "We know there was federal interference. We saw the government step up and give a hard shove, and we saw a compliant company turn around and suspend Mr. Kimmel," end quote. She added that his collaboration with corporations, quote, truly undermines the whole premise of the First Amendment, end quote. Senator Adam Schiff, that lovely Democrat from California, called the suspension one of, quote, the most blatant attacks on the free press in American history. Schiff has previously demanded that Twitter suspend any array of users and reduce the visibility of blacklisted individuals, which include a journalist who held opposing views. When Elon Musk reduced censorship at X, it was Schiff who warned Facebook not to follow his example by restoring free speech protections. Schiff threatened legislative action if the company moved to alter or roll back certain misinformation policies. Now, speaking of Schiff, has anyone ever seen the conclusive evidence that he said he had in his possession proving Trump colluded with Russians? He made that claim on CNN, MSNBC, and other networks repeatedly, and yet nobody demands that he proffer up the proof. Talk about spreading disinformation. The real crux of the issue is that I believe Kimmel can say whatever he wants, but I also believe that companies can limit what employees say at work, and Kimmel was certainly at work when he made his comments. I don't believe that Kimmel should be censored, but at the same time, ABC does not have to lose money and keep Kimmel on the air just because a group of liberal politicians demand that he be allowed to say what he wants to say. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.